I love it when the press is terrorizing Kier Starmer with questions. Usually happens when he goes into the United States because in Britain he's got very favorable press coverage. And so we're going to see the journalist, aka the terrorist, do something that's unthinkable, which is to ask a difficult question of the Prime Minister.
See how you run the country as a proud Christian leader. And it really begs the question to the Prime Minister, if you don't mind, are we still a Christian country? We still have 12,000 people a year here being arrested for social media posts, for free speech violations. Does that not remain an important area that there is still a lot of disagreement on?
I'd like to have you answer that.
Yeah, look, I mean...
Like when Trump is like, oh, I'd like to have you answer that. Take into account that Kier Starmer is actually struggling to maintain a positive relationship with the United States. I don't know if you follow British politics, but he cocked on a lot of issues. Like, he wanted to see what's in your iPhone. I'm not kidding, and I don't care where you're from. He wanted Apple, the company, to give the British government access to see every single person from around the world that's connected to the cloud to see what they're posting there, right? And J.D. Vance said, nah, that's not going to happen. And then Keir Starmer went, okay, that's fine. Right? So basically, he genuinely wants to have a good relationship with the U.S. And so when Trump is like, yeah, please tell me, how do you feel about free speech on social media? And are you a Christian nation or not? And look at him sweating. Look at it.
In terms of a Christian country, I was christened, so that is, my church has been all my life.
I don't think Trump is believing it. Like, I don't think Trump is believing. The interesting thing is, like, Trump himself, yeah, he wasn't the most pious Christian in the world. He was a Democrat, right? Like, he supports the LGBT movement. I don't think he changed his mind on that. Like, there's a big picture with Trump with the rainbow flag. You know, his wife has her tits out in a British magazine when she was 18. There was a scandal about that. Quite recently, actually. He'd been with porn stars, you know, he wasn't a very faithful husband. And even recently, he did say that he doesn't believe that he's going to go to heaven. And so, like, seeing the British Prime Minister having to answer this and doing it in such a poor way, I think, like, he's doing his best not to laugh.
And we are, that is wired into our informal constitution. Of course, we celebrate many other faiths.
What is like our informal constitution? Like, what is that? Like, a constitution is an act which basically limits the powers of the government. Like, it prevents the government from passing certain laws. That's what a constitution is. Like, for instance, in the United States, right? Like, you have free speech. And so, like, the government cannot pass a law that advocates for censorship. And if it does, you have SCOTUS that comes in, right? What the fuck is an informal constitution? Like, what? Like, we pinky promise that we're not going to break it? How does that work?
As well, and I'm really proud that we're able to do so as a country. And on free speech, that has long lived in this country, free speech. It's one of the founding values of the United Kingdom, and we protect it jealously.
I think you were just told that like 10,000 people a year or some shit like that are getting arrested for shit they say. I mean, like, you are supposed to address that, right? Like, you're not supposed to say, yeah, we care about free speech. Like, okay, I know you can say it, but what about, like, the 10,000 people that are getting arrested each year? Because, like, that wasn't the thing that was happening 10 years ago, right? Like, when you think about the United Kingdom, you weren't thinking about people getting arrested for shit they say. Like, you would associate that with Nazi Germany, with the Soviet Union, with Maoist China. Like, the last place you'd think that if you go out and you say stuff, you get arrested would be the UK.
And fiercely, and always will, and we will bear down on any limits on free speech. I draw a limit between free speech and the speech of those that want to peddle paedophilia.
I always see this, like, my God, if pedophilia didn't exist in reality, Britain would probably be a free speech country. Like, this is what I'm getting from this, right? Like, if the concept of, like if human beings would just be unable to comprehend that crime, right? Like, it'd just be like no human could ever do it. All of a sudden, like, Britain would be a free society. But unfortunately, because we live in the world we do, Britain has to arrest like 10,000 people every single year for stuff they post online. Why do you need digital ID? Pedophilia. And meanwhile, like, the United Kingdom is the country with the scandals of the grooming gangs and all the other shit. But, like, no. They need to crack down on the internet because, cracking down on stuff on the streets is actually difficult. Like, going into actual community and fighting organized crime and fighting against people that fight back, well, it's dangerous for police officers. And so, like, fighting online and censoring people is a lot easier. And on top of that, while we're there looking for pedophilia, let's say if you also said something against the government. Let's say if you also have, like, anything negative to say about the Kier Starmer regime. Oh my god. Like, I'll say this. You can tell how much authoritarian a nation is by how poorly the politicians speak in public. Because it makes sense, right? Like, if you actually have, like, genuine democracy, and you actually allow people to talk to each other and genuinely elect whatever politicians they want, then the politicians would have to be really savvy. Like, they would have to be able to handle this type of questioning without looking like idiots. And so, like, when you see a politician that can't answer a simple question in a satisfactory manner, you kind of know, well, this politician usually doesn't do debates. And they don't do debates because they're usually not challenged. Look, I can answer the question. It's not fucking difficult. Like, first of all, it would be like, well, let's separate Christianity from free speech, right? Because one doesn't necessarily include another. The Bible doesn't have a stance on censorship. It's neither for nor against. Okay, so we're going to address that later. But if you want us to talk about, is England a Christian nation? Look, I'm not a religious leader. I'm not a community leader. I'm the Prime Minister, okay? The people of Britain get to vote for me. Now, whether or not Britain has a high percentage of Christians, well, that's up to the Christians, isn't it? Like, I notice a lot of churches are getting shut down, and they're getting shut down because Christians don't go there. Like, what would you want me to do? Do you want me to pass a law that criminalizes people becoming atheists? Like, if someone stops believing, do you want me to round them up? Do you want me to punish parents for not pushing Christianity? And does Christianity actually need the government for it to exist? Like, if that's the case, talk to your community leaders, talk to your religious leaders, and let's set up a theocracy. Like, if Christianity is incapable of spreading itself naturally through conversation and discourse, and it can't compete with Islam, well, okay, fine, like, let's create Britain as the first theocracy, and we lock people up that stop believing, and we fine people that don't go to church, right? Like, that's how I would have handled this conversation. But apparently, he's like, no, well, I am a Christian. This is a Christian nation. Sure. And not to mention, if I'm not mistaken, Britain actually passed blasphemy laws. Like, this is what hate speech is. That's why people are saying, that Britain is not a Christian nation, because hate speech is blasphemy. Right? Like, this is why he is locking down 10,000 people every single year for blaspheming. It's not pedophilia. Right? Like, this is not the issue that is why the government has to invest billions of dollars to crack down on the... Like, let's get real. No, it's because, like, they don't want blaspheming. And blaspheming, like, the religion is the government. Kier Starmer is the god. Like, he wants to have access to all the CCTVs in the United Kingdom. He wants to have access to all the financial transactions of British people. He wants to have access to all the private messages of British people. And he needs their consent. And so he says, well, it's because pedophilia and you need to give me that or you're supporting it. And people go, yes, Masa, yes, I have nothing to hide. Here, this is all I have. Right? And then he becomes God. Because, like, nowhere else in human history did the government hold so much power as they can do today with the technology available. Like, the Soviet Union couldn't do it, Nazi Germany couldn't do it, Fascist Italy couldn't do it, right? Like, they didn't have access to AI, they didn't have access to all the people being logged on and all the people communicating online and all the transactions and every single purchase being monitored and logged, right? They didn't have access to that. Now imagine, like, if the British government generally does have access to all of that. Imagine the amount of power that you have and the trust that you need to do that the banker can just, like, fidget the lines of code and give their companies more money or make their companies tax less. Like, the level of corruption that you could have just by having access to the code is fucking insane. And not to mention, you can choose who to ruin and who to allow. In a society where, like, the definition of pedophilia can literally be anything, then of course, you know, like your friends, oh, like what did you guys do? You know, you did this and that. Okay, that's fine. Well, this guy was role playing with an AI, text based, and he was porking Wazaki-chan, and Wazaki-chan looks kind of 17 to us. We're going to flag that. You know, like that's what the Soviet Union did. That's what Stalin did. Like for my friends, everything. For my enemies, the law. Oh, he was role-playing with an AI. What the fuck was he doing? Oh, he was hate-speaking. He was hate-speaking with Goku Black. Flag that. Right? I mean, it's the law, right? You're not allowed to hate speech. And there you fucking go. And meanwhile, your friends, no one cares. You know, let them do whatever they want. Let me know what you guys think, though. And as usual, I'll see you in the comment section. Take care.